Okay, second coat of dye on the neck is dry. I actually held it over the heater for a count of 10, count of 20 kind of a thing. Warmed it up, and that did the trick for finishing up the drying. If you do something like that, do be careful. The metal, such as the nut, gets real hot real fast. I almost burned my finger on it. The third coat on these guys, third clear coat, is almost dry but not quite. And I suppose for thoroughness sake, perhaps give them that fourth coat just to be safe. I mean, it's not like it's going to use a lot of lacquer. It's only two little pieces. I still have to lacquer this thing once it's done. And this one I'm going to give a third coat of dye because I don't think it's dark enough yet compared to those guys. So yeah, these guys are pretty much dry, and I'm just letting them hang out and cure while I do the rest of this here. And then once everything is dried and cured, I can go ahead and start reassembly. So yeah, let me get back to it. Okay, the neck now has 3 coats of dye, full strength purple, and is in the process of drying. I just shut off the heater and opened the place up. It's like 80 degrees in here. It's about 25 centigrade. Outside it's about 58 Fahrenheit, which is about 14 degrees centigrade. And these guys down here, they got their 4th coat and they're in the process of drying. So now I wait some more. I suppose I could start sanding on those. Well, while I wait for stuff to dry, I figured I might as well put my time to good use, and I can sand on this thing while I'm watching YouTube videos of whatever they're building at Crimson Guitars in the last couple months. I'm going to start with 1000 because I really want to not have to do anything more than just knock it flat and polish it up a bit. And if that clogs like immediately, I'll step down to like an 800 or 600 or something. And if it seems to be leaving scratches, which I don't really think it's going to, because this feels finer than this surface right now. So yeah, this surface is like maybe at about as fine as a 320 or something, in that range, I'd say. I mean, it's got rougher and smoother parts, but you know, it's at most, even the smoothest portions, it's only feeling like the equivalent of something that's been sanded maybe 320 or so. So we'll see how it goes here. And the neck is still, the dye is still drying, and the clear coat is still drying on the bridge and the thumb screws. So time to sand. Well, it looks like 1000 was a pretty good guess. It's not clogging up right away, and it is having an effect, and it is making it nice and smooth. So yeah, I'll just use this to knock it down, and then the portion that's been knocked down and thus has like a satin finish, I'll continue to go finer grits and bring the luster back out on that part. And then it should all be relatively shiny, but it'll still have, I mean, you can feel some texture in here despite that, so that should work out okay. Well, I finished the first round of sanding here on the body and the bar. I actually went down to 600 grit and did it. And so now I'll go back and hit the whole thing 1000 and 2000, etc. third round of stain on the neck, I believe, is just about dry. Yep, feels like it, so I can squirt it. And I haven't checked on the these other guys here, wherever they are. Pretty close. So, yeah. Getting there. Okay, the body and the bar have been sanded to 1,000 so far, 600 and 1,000. These two small bits of the fourth coat of lacquer is dry. And out here, the neck just got its second coat of lacquer. So, the wait continues. Back to sanding. Okay, body and the bar have been sanded 600, 1,000, 2,000. And I think I can go for the little foam polishing thingy on the drill with some polishing compound, which is, it's like a white cream polish with just a smidge of rubbing compound in it, and see what that does. I've got all kinds of things that are finer. I've got some 2500 grit in a sandpaper. I've got also some 5,000 and some metal polish 3M pad things. And then I've also got a set of micro meshes if I wanted to go that route. But you know, micro meshes, they're only about this big, so. But I think really once you get down to about, you know, a smooth 2,000 or so, I think the buffer will do the rest of it. I'm gonna find the parts here. Yeah. So like 30 though it may be, that's like the application buffer wheel. And it's just, you know, like a car polishing compound kind of a thing. So I guess that's going to be next. The neck is still out there. I haven't checked it. It's probably not dry because it's, you know, not even 60 degrees out there. Okay. That's the polish stuff here. Turtle wax, of course. Clean finish polishing compound. In English and Spanish, apparently. So, yeah, you just put a little bit on the pad. I've already been at it some. And then run it at low speed to smear it around. And the stuff's lotion, kind of like suntan lotion. Or hand lotion. And then you kick it up to speed and start buffing. I'm actually holding the piece in one hand and the drill in the other, so. But that's where it's at. I'm not done with this yet, obviously. It's still kind of splotchy, but it should, once you're all done, it should come out pretty glossy and glassy, so to speak, so. Or the way that this thing looks. These things, I might not even bother. I mean, that's going to be covered by saddles anyway, so. And this thing back here, it's not looking bad. The sides are rough, though, so they're going to need some attention. Back to buffing. Okay. Took maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes with this thing. And, yeah, looking kind of shiny. So, that's the body. And now for the bar. Yeah, I already talked about those guys. And the neck is still out there drying. Might be ready for another coat. Okay, looks like second coat of lacquer on the neck is dry. So I'm going to hit that up with third coat. But first, It's time to go ahead and do the bar here, so I thought I'd do a little bit of demo action. You take the polish and you only put a little bit on, smear it around with your finger. Just so it doesn't all just fly off right away. And at first, you're going to want to not run this thing at high speed or else you'll just fling all this stuff off of the sponge. So, yeah. Then you just run it at low speed. I gotta hold the wood here with my pinky. Run it at low speed in order to smear the stuff around. Like that. You can see that I've smeared some wax onto it. And you just run along and, well, you get the idea. So yeah, you just smear it all over, and then you kick it up to high speed, and you just start buffing. And eventually the stuff will dry out more or less, and about the time that it dries out is when you'll reach a point where you don't really see a whole lot of difference with a pass when you do a pass on it, and that's soon after the stuff dries out. You'll find that very soon thereafter, it might dry out, and then you do 2-3 passes, and then you're not really getting much of a change. And at that point, you can stop. And then, so for example, this thing's been done, but it has yet to be cleaned up. Once it gets cleaned up with naphtha and then hit with a bit of wax, it's going to look pretty nice. So yeah, let me go ahead and buff this thing out and put the third coat on the neck. And it's, I don't know, it's like maybe 3 in the afternoon, 3:30, and so I'm actually considering that this episode is more or less all paint shop, and I started it early this morning. It was sometime after 6, and I'm sure it was probably before 9 that I started this morning. So I've been at it for, let's say 8 hours maybe now, and I've almost got this thing, maybe 1-2 more coats of on that, and buff this out and buff that out, and I've done paint shop in a day, which is very, very cool, and that helps for sure. That definitely helps. That and the fact that I'm using more or less some of the fastest finishes that are out there, the spray lacquer and water-based wood dyes. So anyway, let me get to buffing, and I'll see if I can. Well, I'm sure that if I went, maximum effort, as they say, that I could, have this guitar up and running by midnight. Not a problem. Not a problem. But I'm just going to take my time, and I'm in no rush. I'm supposed to do this for fun. I remember when I first became a member of projectguitar.com, which is really mostly, you got 2 types of folks there. You got professional luthiers, and then you have like hobbyists like me who get on and ask professional luthiers questions, by and large. But they also had a members area where you could post information about your builds, and I remember when I first got on that website, that one of the longtime members, one of the first pieces of advice that I got from that particular website, or in guitar building in general, was he was like, "Welcome." His advice was, "Be sure to enjoy the ride." And so, yeah, I'm just going to take my time, because really, if you're doing this when you're in a mood to do it, you do a good job. You probably do a better job. So yeah. Um, used to be a book about Zen and the art of motorcycle repair, and it used to say that if your mind isn't right for working on the bike, just walk away and come back tomorrow, kind of a thing. And that probably applies to almost any engineering project you might undertake. So, and this would probably count as one. So. I'm just going to take my time and make sure that I enjoy what I'm doing, as well as I'm not a company here. I'm not trying to meet a quota or anything. I'm not going to stress out. So I'll be back.